we have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the intermunicipal agreement with the town of Webster, which is related to the sampling point. As you know, as the effluent from the village goes towards that point of influence and on out, we will be sampling. So this intermunicipal agreement between the town and the village of Webster, made today, hopefully. The state of New York has ordered and directed that both the town and the village comply with the requirements of the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System. And whereas this water facility report demonstrates that the cost-effective solution for the town and village to meet the requirements of the NPDES permit was the abandonment of the village's direct discharge to Lake Ontario. And the intent of the town and village to cooperate with each other and with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation in preventing pollution in streams and waterways. Whereas the village applied for its own speedies permit, which will separate it from the town's speedies permit and void the 1979 intermunicipal agreement and later pre-treatment agreements between the town and the village. And whereas the village, to obtain its own speedies permit from New York State, it is necessary that the town's effluent sampling point be moved and separated from the village effluent to a point before the town and village effluent is combined at the joint outfall. And so it will be agreed mutually between the town and the village as follows. The village and town agree that in carrying out the activities under the terms of this agreement, actually there are a whole lot of I'll read them all, but due to the village requesting and obtaining their own speedies permit from the DEC, the town needs to install an effluent sampling point separate from the village flow. The costs to be paid by the village for the town's new sampling point include, but not limited to, engineering, construction, restoration, and other modifications that may be needed to provide the town with a location that provides a sample point that meets New York State DEC standards and regulations. The town, before commencing construction of the sampling point, this new sampling point, shall provide the village with the design of the new sampling point and the engineer's estimate of the cost of the new sampling point. And the village shall pay for all costs associated with the construction of the new sampling point so long as it determines costs and design are reasonable for the involved work. The village shall have the right of audit of all records of the town regarding all costs that the town seeks to be paid by the village associated with the town's new sampling point. And then there are the provisions in terms of the contract that can be changed, modified, or agreed unless it's amended and agreed to by both parties, etc. So as you can read, there is a number of things here, but basically it is to allow for this new sampling point to be done by the village.
No, it's the sampling point, it's the town sampling point, not the village.
It's the town sampling point, which will be
Right now,
separate from...
right now the sampling point, because there's only one speedies permit, it samples the combined effluent. But since there's going to be separate speedies permits, you need two separate sampling points. So the town's got to move theirs, not too far, but a little bit, so it's just got their effluent. It's going to be before the village combines. So it was because the village decided to keep its own sewage treatment plant. The village is agreeing to pay for all of the costs of the town to move it, to design it, and construct it. That was the $9,500 that you approved several weeks ago was for
the engineering.
Not all the engineering costs, just that was the design part of it. It's not. This whole thing could end up costing
A lot more than 9,500.
A lot more than $9,500.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yes.
However,
But you gotta do it, you gotta,
Control
We
it.
had choice.
in order for us to be on our own, that's what we need to do.
right.
So whatever.
So in order for us to be on our own, I would ask for a motion to approve this authorization. Sign this administrative.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second
Trustee Lancy?
Aye.
Trustee Lauer?
it. Aye.
Trustee Alpine?
Aye.
Trustee Abolito? Mayor Byers?
Aye.
Motion
Thank you,
passes.
Don.
So I would ask that after the mayor signs it, which hopefully will happen tonight, that the clerk cause or have somebody actually hand deliver it to the supervisor's office. Don't put it in the mail.
Yes.
Just drive it down the street and bring it over to the supervisor's office so we know they have it.
Thank you.
I would be very willing to do that.
Well, there you go. The mayor will volunteer to drive it down to the
So I know
supervisor's
where he
office.
lives.
After he
It's
signs
enough.
it. Don't take it.
No, I don't think
No,
so.
not
He might
enough.
lose it
Just,
between.
just,
Don't
just
take
give
it.
it, just give it to his
Yeah.
secretary.
The dog might be.
Put it in a sealed
I
envelope.
don't trust the mail machine.
No.
Seal it.